I told you one park creates four completely different lifestyles, and most buyers never realize it? Audubon Park isn't just green space. It's a boundary line between walkable retail energy, architectural prestige, river access, and one of the most family-focused pockets in all of Uptown. And where you land around this park changes everything. Your commute, your grocery run, your kids' school, your morning routine. Today I'm pulling up the map and showing you exactly how these four quadrants work. Hey, and welcome to Living in New Orleans. If this is your first time on the channel and you want to know everything about living in New Orleans and the surrounding neighborhoods, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so that you'll never miss an update. My name is Margaret, and I was born and raised right here in New Orleans. My husband Bernard and I love helping people make their smooth move to the Big Easy. Whether that's in 9 days or 90 days, feel free to reach out. All of our contact info is in the description. Before we walk the quadrants, let's talk about what sits right in the middle of all of this. Because Audubon Park is not background scenery. It's a daily lifestyle amenity for every single one of these neighborhoods. We're talking about a 350-acre park with walking and running paths, a golf course, the famous Tree of Life, a public pool near the zoo, and the Fly, that wide-open green space right along the Mississippi River where locals come to picnic, throw a frisbee, and watch the barges roll by. The Audubon Zoo sits right here too, and it's one of the best in the country. And right inside the park itself is the Audubon Clubhouse, a beautiful restaurant sitting inside the park grounds. It's the kind of place you take out-of-town guests when you want to impress them without leaving the neighborhood. This park is why people choose Uptown, and it's one thing all four quadrants share. Now, before we walk the quadrants, let's talk about where this whole area sits relative to the rest of the city. Audubon Park is about 4 to 5 miles from downtown and the CBD. By car, you're looking at 15 to 20 minutes depending on traffic. If you're in the Audubon quadrant along St. Charles, the streetcar gets you there too. It takes a little longer, closer to 30 or 40 minutes, but you're riding in comfort and not hunting for parking. Moyzan Airport is roughly 15 to 17 miles out, and most days that's a 25 to 35 minute drive. It's not a quick hop, but it's very manageable, and for frequent flyers that matters. But here's the thing, same park, four completely different front doors. So let's start on the west side, right along the river. Audubon Park, Riverside. This entire west side, sitting between the park and the Mississippi River, is Audubon Park, Riverside. And this is the most exclusive pocket of the four. What you'll find here are larger lot sizes, estate-size homes, and quiet residential streets that feel genuinely tucked away from the rest of the city. Your steps from the river levee, the Fly, the zoo, the golf course, and that public pool. There's also a dedicated playground right on Walnut Street, a great little spot for families in this pocket. Park access here generally feels like a private backyard. Now, schools in this quadrant reflect the prestige of the area. You're close to some of the most sought-after private and parochial schools in New Orleans, the kind of institutions with long histories, strong academic reputations, and waiting lists to match. Private schools include Newman, Sacred Heart, and De La Salle. Other nearby alternatives include Lusher, St. George's, and Holy Name. These are schools families specifically relocate to Uptown to access, and Audubon Park, Riverside puts you squarely in that orbit. For dining, Audubon Park, Riverside keeps things refined. Tartine is our personal favorite, a charming neighborhood spot with homemade quiches and bread and a relaxed vibe that locals love. This isn't a restaurant row, it's a handful of serious destination-worthy spots that fit the character of the neighborhood perfectly. Groceries, Whole Foods is your go-to. It's the anchor for this side of Uptown, and most residents here are comfortable making that a car trip, and that's the real trade-off with this quadrant. Most people in Audubon Park, Riverside are driving. That's just the reality. If prestige, space, and river proximity are what you're after, this is your quadrant. But go in knowing that daily errands require a car and Uptown property taxes are high across the board. This pocket is no exception. We'll get into the full tax picture in the pros and cons video. Now let's cross over to the east by St. Charles Avenue. Here we are in Audubon, This side of the park borders St. Charles Avenue, and it simply goes by the name Audubon. This is what most people picture when they close their eyes and imagine classic uptown New Orleans. Greek Revival facades, double gallery homes, ornate ironwork, historic character at every turn. The architecture here is the real deal, and properties along this corridor reflect that. You're also sitting close to both Tulane and Loyola universities, which adds a particular kind of energy, walkable, intellectual, alive. St. Charles Avenue runs right along the northern edge of this neighborhood, and that streetcar connects you to the CBD, to the Garden District, and to the rest of Uptown without ever getting in a car. For a city like New Orleans, that matters. Schools here lean toward the same prestigious private and parochial options that draw families to this entire corridor. The university proximity also means you're near institutions with strong academic cultures, and several well-regarded schools sit within easy reach of this quadrant. Like the rest of Uptown, your school options here are diverse, but the top choices are competitive and often require planning ahead. For dining, the St. Charles corridor puts you close to some genuinely great options. Vincent's Italian cuisine is right on St. Charles, a true neighborhood gem known for rich, classic Italian dishes and the kind of warm atmosphere that keeps locals coming back for years. And with Tulane and Loyola close by, you've got a steady stream of casual spots, coffee shops, and neighborhood restaurants that keep the area feeling alive any night of the week. For groceries, this quadrant has two great options. Whole Foods is close by on Magazine, but Langenstein's on Arabella Street is the real neighborhood gem, a family-owned market that's been serving Uptown since 1922. Locals love it for prepared foods, friendly staff, and that genuine corner store feel you just can't manufacture. And like every corner of Uptown, property taxes are on the higher side, something worth calculating into your budget from day one. If you want classic architecture, Uptown architecture, streetcar access, and that prestigious, connected feel, Audubon is your quadrant. It's the most recognizably Uptown of the four. Now let's move south of Audubon neighborhood toward Magazine Street. Upper Hurstville sits just east of the park and south of Britannia Street, and this is where the energy shifts. This is the most walkable entry point of the four quadrants, and that walkability is the whole point. You're extremely close to Magazine Street here. And Magazine Street means coffee shops, boutiques, local restaurants, and the kind of daily retail that makes a neighborhood feel genuinely livable. We're not talking about driving to a strip mall. We're talking about walking out your front door and having a real street with shops, restaurants, and cafes waiting for you. The dining scene here reflects the walkability. You're a short stroll from some of the most beloved spots on Magazine Street. One of my favorites, Bistro Daisy, is right here. Intimate, seasonal, and the kind of place locals keep to themselves. Saba brings bold Mediterranean flavors that have made it one of the most talked about kitchens in all of Uptown. This is the quadrant where you generally forget you own a car for stretches of the week. Now let's drop down to the south. West Riverside runs from the lower edge of the park by Magazine down toward Chapatoulas and the river, and it has a personality all its own. This is the most family-focused of the four. You've got porch culture, community events, quieter residential blocks, and a neighborhood rhythm that genuinely slows in the best possible way. Dining in West Riverside has real neighborhood feel to it. Clancy's is right here, a true neighborhood staple known for its classic Creole menu and the kind of loyal regulars who've been coming for decades. Patois is another standout, refined but approachable, with a seasonal menu that keeps locals coming back. And Frankie and Johnny's is the kind of place you go on a Tuesday. Casual, no pretense, cold beer, and great po' boys. These are the spots your neighbors already know and love. For groceries, West Riverside is the most practical of the four. You've got Whole Foods as an option, but you also have a Winn-Dixie, which gives families a real second choice for everyday shopping without the premium price tag. Schools here reflect that family-oriented character. Lycée Français on State Street is right in this quadrant, a French immersion school that's become one of the most sought-after options uptown. The community feel of this quadrant tends to attract families who want roots, not just an address. Transit here is the Magazine Street bus line, same as Audubon Park, Riverside. No streetcar access, so like the West Side, most residents are driving. And yes, uptown property taxes still apply. Break all of that down in the next video. So when you zoom out and look at the whole map, here's what you're really choosing between. Prestige and lot size, Audubon Park, Riverside. Classic architecture and streetcar access, Audubon. Walkability and retail energy, Upper Hurstville. Family rhythm and community feel, West Riverside. Same park, 4 completely different lives. In the next video, we get into the full pros and cons, including pricing. Be sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you there.